Thank you very much to Justin, to Katherine, and to Daniel for joining us here on a very, very special Q&A session. I'll apologise first of all. I've got dogs in the background here. I believe Justin's got deliveries coming. This is the fun of working in a pandemic and working from home. But the whole point of today's Q&A was to find out a little bit more about really a company that is hugely important to us here at Spectrum. A performing company that have been with us now for many, many years. We've been to lots and lots of their shows, probably 10, 20, 30 of their shows, at least, from pantos to plays. It is, of course, the brilliant KD Theatre, which hundreds of our members have benefited from and are now working with us towards our Arts Award as well. So what we're going to do is have a few question and answer sessions. We're going to find out a little bit more about the two brilliant people behind KD Theatre, which, of course, Daniel and Katherine. So before I start, I'll just say a big hello to everyone, and of course to Justin. How is everybody doing, first of all?
Morning, Alex. All good, all good. Great to see everyone.
Yeah,
Good,
nice
good.
to see you guys.
Yeah.
Nice to see friendly faces.
It's always good to see smiling faces, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Alex.
Yeah, very kind of you.
No, guys, honestly, you've been, I think, well, if you don't know, you should know. You're so important to us here at the charity and for all of our members. I know you certainly spread and bring a lot of joy to us with all of the help and everything that you do. So we thought for the Arts Award, which we're working towards here at Spectrum with our members, that we would find out a little bit more about the two people behind KD Theatre. So I've gone into the Spectrum universe and I've kind of found out a few questions from people that they would like to know. If you're both happy, I'm just going to rattle through them and just feel free to chat away.
Yeah, fantastic. Can't wait.
Okay, let's get cracking then. So question number one, when you were little, what first fascinated you about theatre and what was the production you were involved in?
Katherine, do you go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So the thing that first fascinated me about theatre, I think, was when I used to go to the theatre, when the lights would go down, you'd be sat in the auditorium and the lights would go down and you just didn't really know what was going to happen. And being able to be transported and just watch a story and watch these people live on stage tell you a story, and just be away from everything for a couple of hours of your day and just be entertained. And that's what I loved about it. And that's when I thought, do you know what, I want to do this. So seeing the people on stage inspired me to do what we do today. And then the first show that we did.
Yeah, the first show was the first production that you were involved in.
So when me and Daniel were younger, we both went to the same dance school. So I started off with tap dancing when I was about 3 years old. So my first production was probably a dance school production in a little place called Isleham. So we went to a wonderful school there that taught us all the tricks of the trade to begin with. And yeah, that's where I did my first show, in Isleham. How
old were you?
I was, so I started dancing when I was 3, but I reckon the show was probably around when I was about 5.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And how about you, Dan? What inspired you?
Similar to Katherine, I think my family are all very musical and, you know, very mixed, sports, musical, but they've always played instruments. And when I was young, my grandma was a musical director for a local panto, and I used to go, probably from like Katherine, the age of 3, sit in the pit, what we call the pit where the band is, and just watch every night. And and that's probably how I used to sit on this little stool next to my grandma, and we always laugh about it now because it just was how I found a love for panto, but also theatre and the magic. I used to go backstage and get the cast to sign my programme. And just loved everything about the theatre and that magic that, you know, like Katherine said, takes you to a different world. And then my mum got me involved in dance classes. I think I started just after Katherine, because I remember going to watch a show that it must have been the show that she was in and saying, she goes to my school. That girl, there was a few people in there. So I think they were like tapping reindeers or something. I've got a memory of that. So then I started tap dancing and then gradually just doing lots of other dances. So I would have been a dance show probably that I did initially. That just got me the bug. Just loved it, you know.
And for both of you, was there a particular production or play or actor or actress that you saw and you were just kind of like, wow, mesmerized by?
I remember
turn
I
it.
went.
I'll
Sorry.
turn it. What's your favorite production? Bring that
Yeah.
into it as well. What would you like to say that was really got you going and thought, that's what I want to do?
So when I was younger, I remember going to see Chitty Bang Bang in the West End. That was my first West End show that I saw, and I think we were on a trip with Brownies. And I remember just sitting next to my mum, and we'd got a program, and I got a hoodie. I think I got a T-shirt, and I was just mesmerized by it. And I just sat and I watched this show, and I just remember thinking, this is exactly what I want to do. And obviously, that was at a big scale. And I was really lucky to be able to be taken to the West End then. And so obviously everything was big and lots of money spent on it. And that's when I thought, right, I want to do this. And I just want to be involved in this magic, and these people are getting paid to do this is their job. And so I think that was when I went to my first West End trip. That was when I knew that's what I wanted to do.
How about you, Dan? Is there one particular production that sticks out to you that really inspired you?
Yeah, it was on my 8th birthday. It was my first trip to the West End to see Beauty and the Beast. It was at the Dominion Theatre, and I remember sitting. I must have been quite high up. I remember getting the binoculars from behind the seats.
Yeah.
Like looking, and I took one of my best friend at the time from primary school, who nothing to do with theatre now. Probably why am I there, because he was into football. But I remember just loving, and I remember wearing this blue shirt and looking all smart, and loved it. And I think that probably was that, and the pantos that I used to see every year, took me into loving, inspiring me into theatre.
Brilliant. And when you both decided to create KD, then was it something you'd planned for a long time, or is it something that just came about quickly?
Just kind of, I think KD itself organically came from me and Katherine were best friends at school, and grew up together. And when we went to college at the age of 13, we put on a show at school. It was a group called Stage Chance at the time. That's what we set up. And it was about giving kids a chance to be on stage, because they used to have the school musical and other shows at school, which were fantastic and we were lucky to be part of. But there was for very few, it was like 30 people would get in, say. So we used to put on these shows that hundreds of kids could be in, and it was mental back at the time. We were 13.
Brilliant.
We had like 100 of our peers at school just doing, climbing ladders, putting lights up, and you think, we were doing everything. We loved, people got, and a lot of those people now are, have gone in West End shows and touring and stuff, which is great. So that's how we started. And then when we left school, it kind of turned into KD, and that's been mine and Kat's passion, I suppose, ever since. And we've grown it into the professional company it is today. But it started all those years ago when we were about 13, putting on a show at school, which, I wish there was a recording of it, because I'd love to see it.
I bet. And because how many shows do you think you've put on now? I mean, I don't want an exact number, but do you think, and which ones stand out to you, Katherine, the most, that you're particularly proud of?
I don't number of shows. I guess from like KD in a professional sense, I reckon maybe about 30, Dan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe
more.
Yeah.
Let's go between 30 and 40, I reckon.
Okay.
And then obviously if you were to add in with the school shows and things, so shows that me and Daniel have done together, probably you're looking, maybe about 60, which is crazy when you say that loud.
Yeah, the work that's got to be put into that as well.
It's also an incredible number of performances, because like you say, one show may have a panto run, for example. That's a lot of shows.
So when you add up all the shows, and then when you think about all the audiences that have come to see those shows, it's crazy.
And any memorable stories that what's your go-to story to go back to that made you laugh, or made it memorable?
We have loads of memories of when we first started, and you think, goodness me, what were we like? The first panto we did in Ely, it's the first professional panto we've done, and we were, we went in to put on a show with like no, we're quite both business mind, always been entrepreneurial since kids, but with no real understanding of how to do accounts or we've got to have insurance, you know, just the things about running a bit. And we went to put on this show, and I suppose we must have learned so much that first year. And now we'll go, can't believe we did that, or can't believe like
Yeah,
that.
we just took that risk. Like, I think when we were younger, we just like Daniel said, that first year, we just went, yeah, let's do it, with not really much money in the bank. So we were relying on people to come to see the show, because if people didn't come and see that show, then we wouldn't be able to pay people, or we wouldn't be able to pay suppliers and stuff. But just when we were that much younger, we were just so, I mean, we're still passionate now, but we were just able to take that risk. We just went, yeah, we can do it, we can totally make it work. And luckily for us, it paid off, and here we are sort of 8 years later.
Fabulous.
Yeah,
but part of that must be, like you say, by being brave.
Yeah,
you know, that risk is part of the magic.
it is. And I think even now, you know, we're much more cautious about everything these days, but we still have that element of risk in our, and we you know, you kind of love it sounds weird, but a problem is you buzz off a problem, buzz off, you know, a cast member going down because you've got to quickly find someone in. And some, you know, not everyone likes those situations, but for some reason, we want our cast members to get ill all the time. But do you know what I mean? Those type of things, we kind of enjoy that element of putting on a show. And there is so much that, you know, people probably don't know that about putting on shows. And I think we've learned a lot over the years, and we still do learn every day.
I think me and Alex can really agree with that. It's like different challenges in what we do, but maybe from our backgrounds, but the adrenaline is good.
Yes,
when you really need to push something, or you really want to make something happen, and it happens. Yeah, it's just one of those indescribable feelings.
Yeah.
And it's when you can create something, isn't it? And you know, kind of like, this is, you know, from literally it's acorns to oak trees kind of thing, that you know, more and more people become a part of it.
I think a standout show would be for us probably, or moment, was probably just the Christmas Just Gone, being able to put on, I think we did 4 shows that we had different venues in the space of a couple of months, knowing that we could suddenly put a show on, and that rush to do it and bringing people together, and the camaraderie of everyone, you know, just, and that, you know, that's a special moment. Yeah, we didn't get to finish the runs, we had to close, but it was very, very special to be able to done that and show what you can achieve in such a small time.
I'd say one of the best shows that I've seen. It's kind of inspired my next question, if you like, because I went a couple of years ago to the Maltings nearly and watched Aladdin, which was in the Panto, which was brilliant. So I was thinking, well, one of the questions I've got here, if I was the genie, okay, and I can grant you one wish, right, but I have a question attached to it. That wish would be, or the question, if you like, who would you wish to work with on what production? What role would you like to play? If the West End came and said, right, Dan, Kat, you can pick any leading role, what role would it be, and from what musical or play?
Oh, I've got 2. Can I go with 2?
Yeah, you can have 2. Yeah, I'm a generous genie. I'm feeling generous.
Thank you, Genie. Thank you. I think, and they're very different. As an actor, I would either love to play Mrs. Lovett from Sweeney Todd. I would love that role. She's just fantastic, and she's got so much character about her. And she's quite sarcastic, which I am as well. So I feel like I'd fit right into those shoes of Mrs. Lovett. And then my other one would be Kate Monster from Avenue Q, so completely the other end of the spectrum. So I think, Kate Monster from Avenue Q and Mrs. Lovett from Sweeney Todd. They would be mine.
Good choices.
Very good. Dan,
how about you?
Miles apart. Very good.
That makes lovely pies as well.
Oh, I do like a pie, a chicken leek and ham pie. My dad loves that.
Daniel?
What would I love to play? I love all the like the Disney musicals. So like Beauty and the Beast, if I could play something like Lumiere, the Candlestick.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Song and dance, man.
Just to sing the songs.
Yeah. And what else? Yeah, I would say something, you know, that type of role is up my street.
What about in Panto, both of you? Would you prefer to be the good or the bad? Are you Peter Pan or are you Captain Hook?
I mean, for me, as you all know, Alex and Justin, if I've done panto, I've played the Dame, but I did Sister a couple of years ago, and that was with Evil, and I loved it. So if I could play a villain, and like probably, you know, like I would love to play the child catcher in the Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh, very dark, Dan.
Like
very dark.
I don't know if I've got the strength to play that role, but I would love to have a go at it. You know.
How about you, Kat?
I love a villain. I think like I love to get my teeth into a villain. But then like this year I played the fairy as well, which is which is mad in itself. And I really enjoyed that. It was really nice. So it was quite nice to be on stage and smile at the children in the audience instead of making them cry. So I mean it's quite nice either or, but I think my go-to would probably be the villain.
Does it present, kind of allow you to be more creative? That maybe it's kind of like different from who you are day to day. You can expand that character. There's more room to maneuver in with someone that's a bad person in a show, or not really, just different.
I mean, I think in terms of like if we were going like villain or fairy, like the fairy in a panto is quite, she comes on, she aids the story a little bit and then she goes off. She doesn't really have too much interaction with anybody else on stage. So but then the villain, they usually have a bit more interaction and lines with other characters, so you have a bit more freedom there to sort of play. And obviously the more characters that are on stage and the more interaction you have, the more fun you can have, and it's like sort of two brains against one in each scene. So yeah, I think there is maybe a little bit more creativity in terms of like villain and lines and things, but just as there's you just as creative because you don't have a wet boring fairy.
No. But like you say, if you're being a bad person, does maybe your character maybe shape their interactions with you more? That you're kind of the way that you're responding to them, they need to come back to you in a certain way, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And it's always great fun. Like in my opinion, it's always nicer to do a duologue than it is a monologue. So have a scene with somebody else rather than just speaking by yourself, because you've got that interaction.
Sure.
Back and forth, because we've often thought as well, saying that like with the interaction and the speed of movement and things, certainly in panto, but in all of the productions that you do, if you are happy, both of you, to give us kind of a peek behind the curtain. One of the questions that I was talking to Justin about last night that I really wanted to know was about costume changes and things, because some of the costume changes you do are crazy quick. How does it work? Have you got someone that kind of lays them out for you behind, kind of backstage, so you're running and getting changed and things? How does it all come about?
Everything is military done back there. Backstage is as important as on stage. And actually, do you know what and just kind of links back to another question, one of my favorite things about like theatre and like what makes me love it is standing in the wings, just watching the quick changes and the set, like what the audience don't see. It gives me goosebumps. I know it sounds really weird, but it just that
it must be great to people watch from back there, you see what I mean?
So with the quick changes, I mean, like from the Dane's point of view, if you've got, it literally is, if you're not on stage, you're off stage getting changed. There's no time. That's why I love playing the Dane, because when you're never sitting around waiting to come on, but everything is rehearsed and laid out. So once you come off, your next costume is there on the floor, ready to step in. Someone might be taking your wig off and pulling it off, but it has to be rehearsed and done properly. You know, you can't just wing it. So yeah, it is rehearsed, and there's a section backstage out with it all. Yeah, it's
like it is funny because when you're an actor in the show, like obviously you have everything that's on stage that goes on, and you have to know your lines, you have to know everything. But then once you get into the swing of the show backstage, you have little things that happen at certain points. So like this year when I was getting changed I played Glinda, and then I came back and I did the Wicked Witch, and in rehearsals we'd timed it, and I think I had like 9 minutes and 3 seconds to get greened and changed and back on stage. And I knew that 2 minutes into my quick change, I knew that they were going to be at the end of the scarecrow scene. So if the end of the scarecrow scene had finished and I wasn't in my costume, it's all like a jigsaw. And then I knew that when I was getting my top on, I knew that Rob, who was playing the lion, he was going to come down the stairs from the dressing room and walk behind me at the point where I was getting my top on. So, and if that didn't happen, I was like, is Rob okay? Is he ready to go on stage? Sort of, is his track all? So as well as your lines, you sort of have to have everything else in place backstage as well, which is really exciting.
Who looks after that? Have you got like a backstage manager that makes sure that everybody is in the right place?
Yeah, so we usually have a stage manager, and sometimes we have an assistant stage manager and a couple of them, but the actors that we work with are just amazing. They're very focused, and they know exactly where they need to be at what time, and just if you're good at your job, then you sort of know, but the stage manager is there to make sure that those people are on stage, or if something isn't right, then they'll go, okay, well, let's sort that. So there's the backstage crew, which are sort of the unsung heroes that are lugging set around and doing quick changes, but also running to get a dog, and it's just all madness, but it's all military madness. It's brilliant. It kind of comes in nicely to the next question. And now this next question, you might be thinking, how long do you want us to talk for? So it's just an abbreviation, but I think it would be really helpful for a lot of the kids that are watching, especially with the Arts Award. Just run us through briefly, how does it work? So from start to finish. So from you and Dan, for example, deciding, right, we are going to do, I don't know, Puss in Boots. What's the process? Who do you hire? How do you cast people? How does it all work?
So if we took like the panto, like we're doing Puss in Boots at the Maltings, the process is probably over a year, because you're always planning the schedule and with the venue. So I suppose it's hard. There's so much, and there's no real order to it. So, but you've got to make sure you've got that venue and the dates.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the first things to do, because there's no point doing a show if you haven't got anywhere to put it on. And then, if we're writing it ourselves, or if we've got to find writers, that have to be done months in advance, because costumes and sets have got to be made, which we get all our sets usually painted all over the summer, ready for Christmas. So they'll be painted over the course of a couple of months, or if a company's doing it, and then everything's ready for Christmas. And the same with the costumes, take up to like 6 months to get made.
Wow, okay.
But then you've got to have the cast ready to be able to have the costumes made. So the set sort of, that the set will be the set regardless of who's in the show. But then you need to cast it, because then the costumes need to be fitted and made to the actors. So there's no point in having like a 6 foot tall prince costume made, but then the prince is actually 4'3". So we
usually cast in the summer for a panto. So, but like any show, maybe depending on the time frame, 6 months in advance. So we usually will cast in the summer, and if, as you know, from the panto, we have a lot of regulars that come back that the audience love to see. But we also like to put new people in, so we'll do auditions in London usually, and that is another big process, because what we do, we put casting call out online, which is like on a special platform called Spotlight, and we'll say we're looking for a print, this tall, looks like this, sings blah blah blah, and you'll get up to 1,000 people put their CV in, and we have to go through each one of them and go, right, who do we want to see, and then whittle it down to about maybe 30 people that will then audition. And then
how do you choose? Is it CV, or do they send you tapes? They
send their CVs in first, and then we bring them into audition one at a time. So they'll come in, we meet them, they sing, they do a bit of acting, maybe dance if they need to, and we'll give them some direction, get to know, because a lot of it's about the person. As you guys know, the people that we work with are lovely, and if they're not, they don't come back. Do you know what I mean? So they're always nice people, and because it's like a bit of a family, isn't it? And we want people that we like to work with. So a lot of it in the audition, like an interview, is about getting to know the person.
Yeah, and will they fit into the company? Will they work how we like to work, how our regulars like to work? Will they fit into that? And obviously, if there's somebody that can sing and is incredible with their vocals and their dancing and their acting, but they're a horrible person, or they just don't have the right vibe, then we say they're not right for us, sort of thing. And it is really interesting, because really you're judging these people on 5-10 minutes, and it is, and a lot of the time it's a gamble again, but then like sometimes gambles pay off, sometimes they don't,
Yeah.
and it's just, that's life really, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
Thank you
good.
very
It's
much.
just amazing, isn't it? Just how much, you know, people, I don't think people realize just how much goes into behind the scenes to putting on a show. But
Say to us what
So
you do.
once you've kind of got your cast in place and you're happy with this, when do you have to start thinking about how your lighting is going to be done, when you're going to start rehearsals, kind of thing?
Well,
So I guess the rehearsal thing has to be, we have to make sure that we've got the rehearsal venue sorted and the rehearsal dates sorted, and that they all match up with our other productions. So if Daniel needs to be, say, in Harlow, then we can't start rehearsals here. Or so making sure that sort of our timetables, we have this lovely big spreadsheet that has all of our shows and when all of the rehearsals start, and then when we go into technical rehearsals and what theatre each of us need to be in. And then obviously we need to make sure that we know what date rehearsal is going to be before we can contract the cast. So that again has to happen quite early on, and then obviously sometimes things change, and then you have to contact all the cast and say, oh, actually we're not going to have that Saturday off, we're going to have the Sunday off because we need to be in Northwich for this day or whatever.
It's like a sliding jigsaw puzzle, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
constantly on the move.
Yeah.
And like with the lighting, we'll chat to whoever's doing the lighting, the designer, you know, maybe once the script's written, which we tried to get done by September time, and then we'll have a chat with the lighting, the sound, and say, this is kind of what we want. They go away, do a load of work, and then they'll come back in rehearsals, and then kind of we have the tech process, which Kat said, which is about 4 days in the theatre, just slowly going through the show, making sure everything looks how we envisioned it. But we're always chatting. I mean, even that, like talking about Panto now this year, what do we want it to look like? What do we want to get made? It just doesn't stop. But if you love it, you just always want to talk about it, don't you? Like,
yeah,
make it the best it can be.
Well, I've got 3 more questions, and then we're going to go to like a quick fire round, if that's all right. I've got some questions as well, quick fire questions from some of our younger members that I know are obviously in the academies for you. But probably the best way to end this kind of section of questions, what was the best advice that you were both given in stepping out and obviously going into the business, not only to run KD Theatre, but obviously as actors yourself? And what advice would you give to the next generation of KD actors?
The best piece of advice I was ever given was be a sponge, which sounds really silly, but be a sponge and absorb everything that you possibly can. So everything that you hear, everything that you see, like absorb it in, and you can use that as you go through, be that good things, bad things. So if you see something that you love, if you're watching somebody else's performance, you go, oh my goodness, I love that. Take that in. How can I use that? Or how can I be better? How can I make myself better to do that? Or if you see somebody treat somebody not very nicely, absorb that in and go, I'm not going to treat people like that because that doesn't get the results that I think that I'm going to want. So I think, the biggest piece of advice, the best piece of advice is be a sponge, is what I was told. And literally every time now, you just open your eyes and just take everything in that you possibly can. That's what I took, and I use that quite often.
Good advice. How about you, Dan?
That's great advice from Katherine. Like
Stolen your thunder.
Also, no, I think we're quite determined people, and you always want in a way, but in a nice way. You want to get better and bigger and everything. But I think the biggest advice that I've always thought of or seen, and people have always mentioned, is what's the phrase? It's a marathon, not a sprint. So don't rush to get somewhere and it will go wrong. You know, you've got to take your time, and you'll get to your goals if you work hard, knuckle down, and do things properly. So I think that.
Surround yourself with the people, like advice to anybody that wants to do this, surround yourself with the people that want to see you do well and that want to help you on your journey, and just be kind to everyone, because you know that you never know when you're going to meet those people again, or when you're going to depend on those people, or just be kind to everyone, and just be a nice person, because nobody wants to be a horrible person.
I think literally everything you've said is like a mirror image of what of me and Alex. Really, we say exactly the same things. kind of learnt the same lessons. And it's very Cinderella, but we always say, have courage, be kind.
Yeah.
Very, very, yeah. It's just a simple way of looking at things, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just be kind. It's as simple as that. Just be nice, be kind.
Yeah.
And where next, guys? Where's, without turning this into a job interview, where do you see KB Theatre in 5 years' time? What's the next plan, the next phase?
The next thing you'd love to achieve is a little bit different to what you've done before.
We are. Oh, what'd you say, Kat?
I said get theatres back open.
Really good start. Really good start.
Yeah.
We are. We obviously love panto, but we are like our other passion as well, which kind of we drill into our pantos, is musical theatre. We love musicals, and we used to do lots when we first graduated college. We used to put musicals on all the time, but we haven't done that for a while. So our goal in the next few years is to get back into that, putting musicals on, doing what we also think that we do well and love doing.
Fantastic.
And do that as well, and work with more creatives to help us do that and everything, and just meet new people and create more shows. But yeah, musicals are what we want to get back into, as well as the pantos.
Fab. That's fab. Are you ready for a quick fire round then? Just simple questions. I'll ask the questions. Just tell us which one you like. You ready?
Okay.
And I'll shoot through them. So, tea or coffee?
Tea.
Sing, dance, or act?
Act.
Or sing.
Sweet or savoury?
Sweet.
Savoury.
Teach, perform, or produce?
Produce.
Netflix or YouTube?
Flick.
YouTube.
Running or gym?
Gym.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Fish and chips or hamburger and fries?
Hamburger and fries.
Oh, let's go with hamburger and fries.
Phone call or text message?
Phone call.
Phone call.
2 more. Snow or sun?
Sun.
Sun.
And the last one that Justin doesn't know about. Justin or Alex? Think very carefully about this. No, I'm joking. I'm going to can that one. No,
Like-
listen.
We can never do that. Spectrum as a whole, we love Spectrum.
Yeah.
Sam plays
We
it safe.
do all.
Without putting you on the spot, Kat, but who is best at learning their lines, you or Dan?
Oh, I'm going to say me.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
When I go on as a dame, I blag it. When you write the script, you can paraphrase the lines, and if you're the dame, you're just talking to the audience anyway and wearing nice frocks, so it doesn't matter.
Who's more nervous though, Dan, you or Kat, before you go on stage?
I reckon I'm the coward. Katherine's got the courage. Yeah, I'd be probably more nervous. I remember like pretty much gagging backstage the first time a couple of years ago when I'd done Dame. I hadn't done it for a few years before I went on. I was so nervous.
Amazing. Well, listen, thank you so much for everybody here, but especially for both of you. We know how precious your time is. It's absolutely amazing. Before I do go, and I'll pass this over to you two as well, because I think it's incredible what you've done. Can you just let people know about The Wizard of Oz? Because that's now streaming online, isn't it? Which is brilliant, and people can, you've got, the public, members of the public can access it, sit down with the family, still enjoy a good, kind of Christmas, New Year panto with some popcorn, but from home.
Yeah, we had always planned to possibly stream it for over Christmas for like people that were vulnerable, couldn't get out the house. And obviously with the show closing early, we managed to get it in the can nice and early, but we have decided now to release it to, everyone and to anyone to watch. So that's been released today, Friday, the 15th of January at 3 p.m. And you can rent it for I think you get a 72-hour window to watch it in. And it's basically the full show. It was recorded over 2 performances, professionally recorded, 3 cameras. and it's like watching the theatre from your own safety of your own home. So yeah, we'd love.
And where do we go, Dan? How do we rent it? Where is it available from?
You go to our website, kdtheatre.co.uk, which has been fabulously designed by Justin.
Very kind, very kind.
But yeah, you go to our website and you can click through all the links and it will take you to where you need to book.
Amazing. Well, I know I speak certainly on behalf of myself, Justin, all the members here, and especially the Arts Ward as well. Thank you so much for giving up your time this morning and coming in and talking to us and letting us know a little bit more about the fabulous company that you guys are.
Thank you so much for having us and asking us to be involved. We love it, and we love you guys at Spectrum, so thank you.
No, thank you so much, guys. Hugely appreciated. You take care of yourselves.
Cool. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.